I was reported by a unified front of every parent in my class, all because I was at my dying father's bedside and didn't reply to a group chat message instantly. You saw the message at midnight, but didn't reply until 7 a.m.? What are you, dead? As a homeroom teacher, you need to be on call 24/7. Even if you have a family emergency, you reply to messages first, right? If you don't have that basic level of dedication, you shouldn't be a teacher. It's just pure selfishness. A person like that has no business teaching our kids. I was stunned, then furious. For 2 years, I had poured my heart and soul into this class, taking them from dead last in the district to the top of the academic rankings. I worked until midnight almost every day. I even missed my own son's parent-teacher conferences. And in the end, because I spent one night keeping vigil outside the ICU, I was the selfish one. When my students found out I'd been reported, they all just looked at me with cold indifference like it had nothing to do with them. My heart went cold. Fine, let someone else have the job. A few months later, that same group of parents was blocking the entrance to my new school. Mr. Carter, please, we're begging you come back. We know we were wrong. When I was reported, a formal complaint, signed by every parent in my class, accused me of negligence and demanded the school immediately strip me of my homeroom duties and teaching position. When the principal told me, my head started ringing. From the moment I took over this class their sophomore year, for 2 full years, I had worked myself to the bone. I had bled for these kids, always putting them first. And the parents were calling me negligent? The parents in your class are being extremely aggressive, the principal said, his expression grim. They're threatening to take this to the district superintendent if the school doesn't meet their demands. Mr. Carter, I need you to think carefully. Have you been dropping the ball at work recently? Principal Thompson, my father is in the ICU. I'm aware of your family situation. He cut me off. But work is work. You can't let your personal life affect the students. The parents are saying you've been taking too much time off and that you aren't responsive in the group chat. You have to understand, Kevin. You're their homeroom teacher. You're carrying the future of 38 kids on your shoulders. I opened my mouth to argue, but he held up a hand. That's enough. Go home and wait for the school's decision. I walked out of his office, a knot of frustration tightening in my stomach. Down the hall, a few of my students saw me coming. They immediately dropped their heads and scurried away. The knot in my stomach tightened. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I opened the parent WhatsApp group and typed out a message. To all parents, since taking on the role of homeroom teacher, I have always made this class my absolute priority. I wouldn't say I was a martyr, but I have been diligent and dedicated. If anyone has concerns about my performance, I wish you would communicate with me directly. Baseless accusations and misunderstandings can be incredibly disheartening for an educator. A few minutes later, a reply popped up. Brandon Miller's mom. Misunderstandings? Are you saying we're making this up? You're a homeroom teacher, and you're running off to the hospital every other day. Do you think that's appropriate? Who gave you that right? Who gave you that freedom? How are you supposed to focus on our kids when you're doing that? This is senior year, the most critical time. Is it going to kill you to stay away from the hospital? That last sentence made my hand start to shake. My father, lying in the ICU, hovering between life and death. Last night, his heart stopped twice. I spent the entire night outside his room, begging the doctors to save him. And this woman was asking me if it would kill me not to go. I took a deep breath, my fingers trembling as I typed. Mrs. Miller, my father is in the ICU right now. The doctors have told us to prepare for the worst 3 times. As his son, I just want to be with him in what might be his final moments. Is that wrong? The chat went silent for a few seconds. Then it exploded. To Jessica Davis's dad. Mr. Carter, we understand you're going through a hard time, but you have to understand us too. Our kids are about to apply for college. At a time like this, you're taking off every few days. Who's going to manage the class? Emily Chin's mom. Exactly. It's not that we're heartless, but you have to have your priorities straight. Your father has other family members to look after him. These students only have one homeroom teacher. Michael Rodriguez's dad. To be blunt, your dad is your dad, and the students are the students. You need to remember what your job is. I stared at the screen, my throat tight. What had I been doing all this for? For 2 years, I was at school by 6 a.m. and didn't leave until 11 p.m. I spent my weekends tutoring students and my holidays creating customized study plans. I never once made it to my own son's parent-teacher conferences. I gave all my time and all my energy to this class, to these students. And for what? To be told I didn't have my priorities straight? I couldn't stop myself from fighting back. To all parents, you've all seen my work for the past 2 years. When I took over this class, we were ranked last in the entire district. Now, we're number 1. I think you all know exactly how much effort that took on my part. Sarah Johnson's mom. Mr. Carter, we're not denying your effort. But you also have to understand, you get paid a stipend to be the homeroom teacher. Putting in the effort is what you're supposed to do. You can't just bail on them now because of a family issue. When did I bail on them? All that happened was my father was dying. I stayed at the hospital overnight, and I didn't see a message sent at 3 a.m. That's bailing? I haven't bailed on anyone. I typed, taking another ragged breath. At 2 a.m. last night, the hospital called and said my father was in critical condition. I rushed over while he was in emergency surgery. I waited outside the ICU all night. My phone was on silent, so I didn't see the messages in the group. That's not bailing. That's basic human decency. Brandon Miller's mom. Human decency? What about your professional responsibility? Do you have any idea that I messaged you at midnight asking about my son's math homework, and you didn't reply until 7 a.m.? That's 7 hours. Were you dead? Her words stabbed me right in the heart. I fought to control my emotions. Mrs. Miller, please watch your tone. My father was fighting for his life in the ICU, and I was at his side, as any son would be. You messaged at midnight about a math problem. I'm an English teacher, not a math teacher. That's a question for Mr. Evans, not for me. Brandon Miller's mom. You're the homeroom teacher. You're responsible for everything in this class. And when I ask you, it's your job to go ask the math teacher and give me the answer. Isn't that your responsibility? Don't try to pass the buck. Mrs. Miller, the math teacher's contact info is in the school directory. You can contact him directly. I'm the class advisor, not an expert in every subject. Jessica Davis's dad. Mr. Carter, that's not the right attitude. A homeroom teacher is supposed to coordinate with the other teachers. When a parent asks you a question, you should be the one to solve it, not tell the parent to go find someone else. That's the definition of passing the buck. I suppressed a surge of pure rage. Let me ask all of you a question. If I had a choice, why would I even want to be a homeroom teacher? The group fell silent for a few seconds. Then, Sarah Johnson's mom sent a message. Because of the extra pay, obviously. Why else? My blood pressure spiked. I wanted to scream. Yes, homeroom teachers get a little extra money compared to regular teachers. An extra $500 per semester. Can you believe that? I was at school from 6:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. I spent my weekends in meetings, doing home visits, and dealing with endless emergencies. The notifications from the teacher group chats were a 24/7 stream of demands. Incomplete work plans, class summaries, student evaluations, safety reports, endless department meetings, faculty meetings, parent-teacher conferences, constant student conflicts, mental health crises, and parent complaints to resolve. The workload of a homeroom teacher is 10 times that of a regular teacher. And I did all that for an extra $500? Was I insane? The attacks in the chat were still escalating. Being a homeroom teacher helps you get tenure. Mr. Carter is a smart guy. What's the point of holding the position if you're not going to do the work? He should just step aside for a younger teacher and stop holding our kids back. Just get out. I was too furious to even speak. If I really wanted money, I would have left ages ago. Last year, the headmaster of a private academy personally recruited me, offering triple my salary, a housing allowance, and a guaranteed promotion. I turned him down flat. Why? Because I couldn't leave these kids. I'd been with them from sophomore year to senior year. I knew every student's personality, every one of their academic weaknesses. With college applications just around the corner, this was the most crucial time. How could I leave? Everything I did. Wasn't it for their precious children? 3. Just then, some of the other subject teachers in the class started to speak up in the group. Mr. Evans, the math teacher. To all the parents, I've worked with Mr. Carter for 2 years, and I've seen his dedication firsthand. Honestly, the only reason this class has improved so much is because of him. Also, regarding Mrs. Miller's question about the math homework, that should have been directed to me, not to the homeroom teacher at midnight. Ms. Garcia, the physics teacher, he's right. Mr. Carter has poured his heart and soul into this class. He gets here at 6 a.m. every day and doesn't leave until 11 p.m. He tutors students on the weekends and designs study plans during school breaks. You've all seen it. In the 2 years I'd managed the class, we went from the bottom of the district to the top. That was an undisputed fact. But the parents' reactions next made my heart sink even further. Brandon Miller's mom. A homeroom teacher is supposed to be on call 24/7. That's your job. Jessica Davis's dad. My daughter has always been smart. She just needed time to mature. At the end of the day, it was the kids' own hard work. The teacher is just there for support. Sarah Johnson's mom. You teachers are all the same, always trying to take the credit. When the students do well, it's all because of the teacher. When they do poorly, it's because the student isn't trying. Isn't that a double standard? Mr. Evans, parents, that's not fair. Do you not remember what this class was like 2 years ago? Dead last. 3 different teachers quit because of them. It was Mr. Carter who took over, who sat down with each student one-on-one, who helped them with every single subject until they brought their grades up. Emily Chin's mom. Well, you can't say it was all Mr. Carter's doing. We parents spent a lot of money on private tutors for our kids. Michael Rodriguez's dad. That's right. My son has a tutor every weekend. I spend thousands of dollars a year on it. The tutoring is why his grades went up. Ms. Garcia. But what about Mr. Carter staying late every day to help students and giving up his weekends for free tutoring sessions? Don't you see that? Brandon Miller's mom. That's his job description. Isn't helping students what a teacher is supposed to do? Do we need to throw him a parade for it? I looked at the conversation, my fingers trembling. So, in their eyes, my 2 years of sacrifice were just me, doing my job. When the students succeeded, it was because they were smart or because their parents paid for tutors. Parents, since you all feel that my role as homeroom teacher is so insignificant, I won't argue. I just want to say one thing. For the past 2 years, I have created a personalized study plan for every single student in this class. I listed over a dozen examples off the top of my head. Yes, the students worked hard, but that was a habit I had forced them to develop. Honestly, our students weren't the strongest academically. Their entrance scores were at the bottom of the district, and most of them had little to no initiative. But this same group of kids now had the highest average GPA in their year. How did that happen? It happened because I stayed up until midnight grading their work, compiling every mistake into a personalized review packet. It happened because I sacrificed my lunch breaks to hold extra help sessions for struggling students. It happened because I bought review books and practice tests with my own money, and because I gave up my weekends to tutor them for free. Dinner? My dinner was often cup noodles and a granola bar on my desk. I could say with absolute certainty that no teacher in the entire school worked harder than I did. But now, these parents were telling me their kids' improvement had nothing to do with me. Was all of that also just what I was supposed to do? The group went silent for a few seconds. Then, a message from Brandon Miller's mom appeared. Mr. Carter, are you trying to guilt trip us? That's all part of your job. You're the homeroom teacher. Helping students improve their grades is what you're paid for, isn't it? Jessica Davis's dad. And frankly, my daughter's English grade improved mainly because she worked hard. You read her a spelling list every morning for 10 minutes. What's the big deal? Sarah Johnson's mom. I think Mr. Carter is just trying to manipulate us, so we'll feel bad and withdraw the complaint. But we're doing this for our children, and we won't be swayed by a few small favors. My 2 years of backbreaking work, in their eyes, were a few small favors. Since you all feel that everything I do is just part of the job, then my time after work hours should be my own, correct? Michael Rodriguez's dad. Mr. Carter, you're a homeroom teacher. How can you draw such a clear line? If a student has a problem, you should be there to solve it immediately, no matter the time. Brandon Miller's mom. You can go to the hospital, but it can't interfere with your job. For instance, last night, you could have had a family member stay at the hospital while you went home to be on standby. When I messaged at midnight, you should have replied instantly, not waited until 7 a.m. Even if you didn't know the answer, you should have replied, let me ask the math teacher. That way, I would have known you were on it. I was speechless. A few more messages popped up on the screen. Sarah Johnson's mom. Mr. Carter, at the end of the day, you just don't take your job seriously enough. If you truly cared about the students, You would have made sure the class was taken care of before rushing to the hospital, even if your father was dying. I stared at the endless stream of messages, a vein throbbing in my temple. I took a deep breath. With my last shred of patience, I tried one more time. Parents, I promise you, from here on out, I will do my best to fulfill my duties as homeroom teacher. But please, try to understand that I am a human being, not a machine. However, their response was the final straw. Jessica Davis's dad. I think Mr. Carter is threatening us. He's basically saying that if we continue with the complaint, he's going to stop trying. Brandon Miller's mom. I knew it. Mr. Carter is petty and will definitely hold this against our kids. We all need to watch out for that. Phoenix. This godforsaken job. Let someone else do it. 4. The next morning, I was called into the principal's office. The principal, the dean of academics, and the senior grade level coordinator were all there waiting for me. The school board has met to discuss the parent complaint. The principal began. Considering your difficult family situation, we've decided to give you some time to handle your personal affairs. During this period, Mr. Peterson will be taking over as the acting homeroom teacher. Mr. Peterson was one of the veteran teachers, in his late 50s, mild-mannered and kind. I started to object but was cut off. The dean said, Mr. Carter, this arrangement is for your own good. In your current state, you're not fit to continue as a homeroom teacher. Once you've dealt with your father's situation and have had time to recover, you can return. But it's the second semester of senior year. This is the most critical time. Precisely because it's so critical, the class needs a stable presence. Mr. Peterson is experienced and has the time to devote himself completely to managing the class. I understood. They were firing me for my position. Understand, I said, standing up. I'll go pack my things. I turned and walked out of the office. Back in the classroom, the students were quietly studying. When I walked in, a few of them looked up, then quickly lowered their heads and went back to their work. No one asked me what was wrong. No one cared where I had been. I stepped up to the podium and looked out at the 38 faces. For 2 years, I had given them so much. I remembered everyone's birthday, knew every student's academic weakness, was there for every personal crisis. And class, I have an announcement to make. Starting today, I will no longer be your homeroom teacher. Mr. Peterson will be taking my place. The room was silent. After a few seconds, a student muttered, That's good. Mr. Peterson isn't so strict. Another student added, Yeah, Mr. Carter was way too tough, always checking homework. It was so annoying. And another, You think the new teacher will give us less homework? I stood at the front of the room, listening to their whispers, and my heart felt like it was being shredded. So that's all I was to them. A too strict, annoying teacher. I took a deep breath and continued. Over the past 2 years, I've created detailed review plans for each of you leading up to your final exams. Every plan is different, tailored to your individual needs. It took me a full 6 months, and I hoped it would help you all do your best when applying to college. I reached under the desk and pulled out a thick stack of binders, each one labeled with a student's name. I'll give these plans to Mr. Peterson, and he'll be in charge of making sure you follow them. Brandon Miller raised his hand. Mr. Carter, can I ask a question? Go ahead. I heard that you get a bonus if we get into a top-tier university. Is that true? I paused for a second. The school does have a bonus system, but... So now that you're not our homeroom teacher anymore, you won't get the bonus, right? Brandon interrupted. Then why are you bothering to make these plans for us? You're leaving anyway. Might as well save yourself the trouble. As soon as he said that, a few students in the class started to snicker. Jessica Davis said, Yeah, Mr. Carter, don't waste your energy. You're not going to be in charge of us anymore, so why put on a show? Emily Chin added, He's probably just trying to make us feel guilty, so we'll go to the principal and beg for him to stay. I looked at these students, these kids I had once treated as my own, and they were looking back at me with strange, cold eyes. So this is what they thought, that everything I did was for a bonus, that it was all just an act. I drew a deep breath, pushing down the wave of grief. You're right, I said with a small, empty smile. I did waste my energy. With that, I placed the stack of binders back under the desk, turned, and walked out of the classroom. The moment I stepped out, I heard cheers erupt behind me. Awesome. The new teacher will definitely be easier. We're free. Finally, we can relax. I thought back to 2 years ago, when this class was infamous throughout the school. They were chaotic, undisciplined, and completely out of control. After I took over, I spent every waking moment in that classroom, working with them one by one, trying to get them back on track. I thought my efforts would be remembered, that they would be grateful. I was wrong. In the eyes of these kids, I was just a tool, a strict, annoying, and disposable homeroom teacher. 5 that afternoon, Mr. Peterson officially took over the class. He was a kind, good-natured teacher who never lost his temper and always spoke to the students with a gentle smile. The parents were thrilled. In the new group chat, from which I had been removed, the parents all welcomed Mr. Peterson. Mr. Evans sent me screenshots. Brandon Miller's mom. Mr. Peterson, we're counting on you from now on. If you notice any issues with our Brandon, please let us know immediately. Jessica Davis's dad. Mr. Peterson, with your experience, I'm sure you'll lead the kids to success. Not like some of these younger teachers who have a short fuse and are always taking time off. Sarah Johnson's mom. Yes, Mr. Peterson, please don't be like some people who drop everything and run the second a family issue comes up. Reading those messages, all I could do was laugh. I didn't reply to Mr. Evans. Instead, I started clearing out my desk. I had accumulated so much over 2 years. Growth files for every student, performance analyses from every exam, notes from every counseling session. It was a thick stack of paper, a record of my devotion. Mr. Carter, are you really leaving? Mr. Evans came over, his eyes a little red. I gave him a bitter smile. Those parents are unbelievable, Ms. Garcia said, shaking her head. After everything you did for that class, for them to... Let's not talk about it, I said, waving a hand. After I finished packing, I went to the principal's office and filed the official paperwork. The administration was clearly displeased, telling me I was being immature, that this was just part of the job everyone has to go through. I didn't bother explaining myself. When I left the school for the last time, not a single student came to see me off. So be it. My 2 years of dedication had all been for nothing. 2 weeks later, my father passed away, and I, his son, wasn't even able to be with him for all of his final moments. After the funeral, I called the headmaster at Clearview Preparatory Academy. Mr. Carter, you're willing to join us? We'd be thrilled to have you. The offer still stands. They honored their original proposal, offering me a salary triple what I was making before. Before I accepted, I made one condition. I would not, under any circumstances, be a homeroom teacher. As a regular subject teacher, I wouldn't have to worry about endless administrative tasks, agonizing parent-teacher relationships, or dealing with all sorts of bizarre personalities and problems. I wouldn't have to worry about having zero personal space. By focusing only on my teaching, I wouldn't have to feel the pain of pouring my heart out only to get nothing in return. The headmaster assigned me to teach English to the senior class, Section 3. There were 32 students in the class. Their grades were above average, but English was their weakest subject. The students were surprisingly enthusiastic to see me. Mr. Carter, we heard you're amazing. You took a class from the bottom of the district all the way to the top. We're so excited for your class. Yeah, I saw a video of one of your demo lessons online. It was awesome. Hearing their words, a warmth spread through my chest. Thank you for your confidence in me, I said with a smile. I'll do my best to help you all improve your English scores. After class, several students crowded around my desk to ask questions. Looking into their eager, curious eyes, I felt a long-lost sense of accomplishment. That evening, I opened the parent group chat. I had barely typed a few words when messages started coming in. Mr. Carter, welcome to our class. My son came home and said your lesson was fantastic. He really enjoyed it. Mr. Carter, we've heard so much about you. Your reputation precedes you. We're so lucky to have you. Mr. Carter, my son told me you helped him analyze his study habits, and he found it really insightful. Thank you for your hard work. I replied politely, Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be your children's English teacher. In the coming months, I will do everything I can to help them improve their scores. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. However, please understand that my working hours are from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., during which I will respond promptly. After hours, I need to spend time with my family and may not be able to reply immediately. Thank you for your understanding. I expected this to be met with some resistance. Instead, the parents were completely supportive. Mr. Carter, you're absolutely right. Teachers need time to rest, too. We completely understand. Yes, it's important to have a work-life balance. Don't worry, Mr. Carter. We won't bother you after hours. We really appreciate you setting clear boundaries. A well-rested teacher is a better teacher. Reading their replies, a wave of warmth washed over me. Not long after I started at Clearview, I got a call from Mr. Evans. Kevin, is this a good time to talk? Sure, what's up? Your old class. Well, our old class. There's been an incident. My stomach dropped. What happened? Mr. Peterson was reported. I was stunned. Mr. Peterson? He's the nicest guy in the world. How could he get reported? That's the problem. He's too nice, Mr. Evans sighed. Last week, a parent called him at 2 a.m., saying her kid was too stressed to sleep and needed Mr. Peterson to talk him down. He was asleep and didn't hear the phone. When he called back the next morning, the parent went ballistic and accused him of being irresponsible. Just for that. Yep. And get this. That same parent started saying in the group chat that Mr. Peterson is too old, doesn't have the energy, and isn't cut out to be a homeroom teacher. Then other parents started chiming in, saying he isn't as strict as you were and can't control the students. I laughed bitterly. A month ago, they were complaining I was too strict. Now, they're complaining he isn't strict enough? Who knows, Mr. Evans said. Anyway, Mr. Peterson has had enough. He told the principal he doesn't want the job anymore. So what happens now? The school is looking for a new homeroom teacher, but no one wants it. His voice was laced with exhaustion. The parents in that class are impossible to deal with. Whoever takes that job is walking into a nightmare. All the teachers are just steering clear. No one is volunteering. I fell silent. In their eyes, a teacher was supposed to be a perfect, always available machine with no personal life. The moment a teacher showed even a hint of being human, they were met with complaints and outrage. So, Kevin, how are things at the new school? Mr. Evans asked. It's good, I said. The students are respectful. The parents are reasonable. I really like it here. That's good to hear, he said. You know, we all miss having you around. The office has been a lot quieter since you left. I miss you guys too. Oh, one more thing, Mr. Evans added. The class's grades have been slipping. Badly. They had another test last week. They dropped from first place in the district to 8th. In just 2 months from 1st to 8th. How are the parents taking it? I asked. They think it's Mr. Peterson's fault. They're saying he's a bad teacher, Mr. Evans said. But we all know he's a great teacher. He's just not as strict as you were, not as personally invested in every single student. I didn't say anything. I thought about the study plans I'd spent nights creating, the mornings I'd gotten up early to drill vocabulary, the weekends I'd given up for free tutoring. All that effort, which the parents had dismissed as just part of my job. And now that those job duties were gone, their kids' grades were plummeting. Kevin, will you come back? Mr. Evans asked suddenly. No, I said, without a moment's hesitation. I knew you'd say that, he chuckled. But I had to ask. After all, that class really does need you right now. They don't need me, I said. They need a machine who will tolerate all of their unreasonable demands. And that's not me. After hanging up, my emotions were a tangled mess. I'm not a saint. Hearing that my old class's performance had tanked did give me a small, dark flicker of satisfaction. But mostly, I just felt a deep sense of resignation. Those students could have done so much better. If the parents hadn't been so aggressive, if the students had known a little gratitude, if the school had been more supportive of its teachers. But there are no ifs. What happened, happened. There was no going back. A month later, the senior class at Clearview Prep took their midterm exams. It was the first major test since I'd taken over the class. The day the results came out, I was in my office grading papers. The class president, Sarah Jenkins, burst in, beaming. Mr. Carter, our class's average English score went up by 15 points. We're number 1 in the district. I looked up surprised. 15 points. Yes. And 12 students in our class scored over 95%. That's 6 more than last semester. Sarah was so excited her face was flushed. Mr. Carter, thank you. The other teachers gathered around, congratulating me. Kevin, that's incredible. 3 months, and you've raised their scores that much. That's our guy. The teacher who could take a last-place class to the top. What's your secret, Carter? I smiled. No secret, just personalized teaching. I created a unique study plan for each student, targeting their specific weaknesses. But that must have taken forever. It did take a lot of time, I admitted. But seeing the students improve makes it all worthwhile. That night, the parent group chat exploded. Mr. Carter, thank you so much. My son got a 96 on his English final. That's the highest grade he's ever gotten in high school. My son, too. He went from A B to an A. Mr. Carter, you're a miracle worker. Mr. Carter, my son said the study plan you made for him was a game changer. He's actually confident about English now. We can't thank you enough. As I was replying to the messages, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered. Hello. Mr. Carter, this is Brandon Miller's mom. I froze for a second before I placed the name. Hello. What can I do for you? My voice was cold. Mr. Carter, I'm calling to apologize, she said, her voice dripping with remorse. We were wrong before. We shouldn't have treated you that way. We all regret it now. We're begging you, please come back. Come back. I scoffed. We really know we were wrong, Mr. Carter. After Mr. Peterson left, the next homeroom teacher didn't even last a month before quitting. The class has had 3 different teachers now, and the kids' grades are getting worse and worse. On the last exam, our class dropped from 8th in the district to 15th. And how is that my problem? I asked. Mr. Carter, I know you're angry with us, but the children are innocent in all this. Please, for their sake, come back. We'll agree to any conditions you have. I rolled my eyes. I've already resigned. Her tone shifted, becoming matter of fact. So what if you resigned? You could just get rehired. I know you're at Clearview now. What's so great about a private school? You don't even get a pension. She had to be kidding me. Did she think I was an idiot? Listen to me. I don't owe you anything. I did my job. I gave you my all, and you were the ones who threw it away. But the children, what about the children? I cut her off. Their grades are dropping. Is it because they don't have a good teacher? No. It's because you parents chased all the good teachers away. You planted the seeds. Now you can reap the harvest. Mrs. Miller's voice instantly turned shrill with rage. I'm trying to be civil here. What more do you want? Are you really going to hold a grudge just because we reported you? I can't believe how petty you are. I could hear other voices yelling in the background. He's shameless. He's just holding out for more money. Unbelievable. I hung up the phone. 9. The results for the second round of mock SATs came out. My class at Clearview, Section 3, saw their average English scores rise again, securing our spot as number 1 in the district by a commanding 7-point lead over second place. My old class had dropped to second to last. Mr. Evans told me the class was now in a state of complete chaos. After 2 teachers quit in a row, no one else dared to take the job. The students had lost all motivation. Many of them just played on their phones during class and games after, not studying at all. The parents were frantic, but there was nothing they could do. They had alienated every single teacher who was willing to go the extra mile. One day, as I was leaving work, I saw a crowd of people gathered at the school gate. As I got closer, I realized it was the parent from my old class. The moment they saw me, they swarmed me. Mr. Carter, please, we're begging you come back. Mr. Carter, we truly know we were wrong. The kids need you, Mr. Carter. I took a step back, staring at them coldly. This is private school property. Unaffiliated individuals are not welcome. Please leave. Mr. Carter, don't be like this, Mrs. Miller pleaded. We're apologizing. Isn't that enough? Tell us how you want us to apologize, and we'll do it. That's right, Mr. Carter, Mr. Davis added. Name your price. We'll agree to anything. I let out a cold laugh. I'm never coming back. Get that through your heads. With that, I pushed my way through the crowd. Behind me, Mrs. Miller suddenly screamed, Mr. Carter, how can you do this? What about your professional ethics as a teacher? I stopped and turned back to face her, my eyes like ice. Let me tell you something. I have a clear conscience about the work I did for 2 years. But you parents will never understand gratitude. You will only ever take and demand. People like you don't deserve to be parents. As soon as they heard my final refusal, the scene devolved into a cacophony of insults. The same people who had been bowing and scraping seconds before were now showing their true colors. Then they started turning on each other, tearing each other apart like rats in a sack. Look what you did. I said from the beginning we shouldn't report him, and now look at this mess. What are we supposed to do now? As long as the teacher kept the grades up, who cared if he went to the hospital? It's not like he was leaving in the middle of a lesson. Are you all insane? Every single one of you was bad-mouthing him in the group chat. Now you regret it, and it's all my fault. Watching them rip each other to shreds at the school gate, I felt a wave of disgust. I called security and had the entire disruptive group escorted off the property. As they were being forced to leave, they were still screaming, threatening to file complaints against the school. I thought that would be the end of it. The next day, I arrived at school to find out I had been reported again. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint with the district superintendent's office, accusing me of accepting bribes from parents and alleging professional misconduct at my previous school. My new headmaster was completely supportive. I've already submitted a formal statement to the district confirming that during your time at our school, you have never accepted any gifts or money from parents. As for the situation at your old school, I've contacted your former colleagues, and they have all agreed to provide statements on your behalf. These parents had crossed my last line. It wasn't enough for them to drive me out. Now they wanted to destroy my career. Just then, the parent group chat for my new class lit up. They were furious. "Mr. Carter, we saw the smear campaign someone is running online, accusing you of taking gifts. That is absolute slander. We are going to set the record straight." Exactly. Mr. Carter is the most dedicated teacher I have ever met. The idea that he would accept a bribe is absurd. Those people are just spreading lies. I've already written a letter of support to the superintendent, attesting to Mr. Carter's impeccable character and stating that he has never solicited or accepted anything from parents. It would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. Their trust and understanding were a balm, slowly soothing the raw wounds in my soul. The places where I'd been stabbed by those toxic parents were finally beginning to scar over and heal. I replied in the group chat, "Thank you all for your support and trust. I will handle this situation properly, and I promise it will not affect your children's education." That afternoon, investigators from the superintendent's office came to the school. They reviewed my employment records, interviewed numerous parents and students, and even looked into my bank accounts. In the end, their investigation concluded that every single one of the allegations was false. The district dismissed the complaint and issued a formal apology to me. More importantly, they traced the IP address of the person who filed the anonymous complaint. It belonged to Brandon Miller's mom. I immediately pressed charges for defamation. The final exam scores and college acceptances came in. In my class at Clearview, Section 3, out of 32 students, 8% were accepted into top-tier universities, with an average SAT score 150 points above a national average. The average score in my English class was a 92, the second highest in the city. The parent group chat was flooded with messages of gratitude. As for my old class, their results were a disaster. Only 28% of them were accepted into top-tier schools. Compared to the 85% that had been projected when I was their teacher, the rate had dropped by more than half. When the results came out, the parents went berserk. They stormed the school, screaming that the administration was negligent. They filed complaints with the district, claiming the teachers were incompetent. "Kevin, those parents are kicking themselves now," Mr. Evans told me over the phone. "They're asking everyone for your contact info, hoping their kids can retake the year and get into your class." I snorted. The nerve of some people. "What about you, Dave?" I asked. "Are you still at the old school?" "I quit too," he said. "I couldn't take it anymore. Those parents are just too much. I'm at a tutoring center now. It's a lot less stressful." A mix of emotions swirled within me. So many teachers walk into the profession full of passion, seeing education as their life's calling. But in the day-to-day grind, ground down by demanding parents, administrative pressure, and a society that doesn't understand, that initial love for the job slowly erodes. I hope that one day, education can return to what it's supposed to be. A day when every ounce of effort is seen, and every teacher can stand at the front of the classroom with dignity.